Hello, we're gonna solve exercise 21-8, contribution margin and break-even point. Compute the missing amounts for the following table. So he gave you three situations, A, B, and C. He gave you the number of units for each, okay, sales price per unit, variable cost per unit, total fixed cost, and target profit. So I'm gonna write the formulas down to help you solve this question. Okay, so calculate contribution margin per unit. Contribution margin per unit is sales price less variable cost per unit. Contribution margin ratio is contribution margin divided by sales price. If this is per unit, this one should be in per unit. If this is one total, this one should be in total. Required units to achieve target profit, yani how many units do I need to sell to achieve this target profit? So it's going to be total fixed cost plus the target profit divided by the contribution margin per unit. Now, required units to break even and required sales in dollars to break even. Break even point is when your profit equals to zero. So your total revenues equals to your total cost. You are not making any profits or losses. It's zero. So you're gonna use the same formula as the previous one, but instead of profit, you're gonna write it's zero. So it's gonna be total fixed cost divided by contribution margin per unit. And if you want to do the sales in dollars for the break-even point, it's gonna be total fixed cost divided by the contribution margin ratio, not the per unit. Or you can just take the break-even point in units and multiply it with the selling price as written here. You're gonna get the same answer. So you can pause the video and try to solve it by yourself. Solve it for A, then B, then C. So for A, contribution margin per unit, sales price less variable cost, it's 1000 less 600, so it's gonna be 400. Contribution margin ratio, it's gonna be the contribution margin divided by the sales price. So 400 divided by 1000 is gonna be 40%. Required units to achieve target profit, I'm gonna use this formula. Total fixed cost plus the target profit divided by the contribution margin per unit. So I added them down because I don't have space here. So fixed cost plus profit, it's going to be 348,000 divided by 400, you're going to get 870 units. Now, required units to break even, I'm going to write this formula. Total fixed cost plus zero, there is no profits at break even, divided by the contribution margin per unit. So this is my fixed cost divided by the contribution margin per unit, 400, you're going to get 198 units. For the required sales in dollars to break even, again, fixed cost, no profits, divided by the contribution margin ratio. So you're going to divide by 40%, you're going to get 198,000. Or you can use break-even point in units and multiply it with the selling price. So you can just take the 198 units and multiply it with the selling price, which is 1000. You're gonna get the same answer. Let's do it for B and C. Now pause the video and do the calculations for B. Now for the contribution margin per unit, sales price less variable cost, you're gonna get 40. Contribution margin ratio, it's gonna be the contribution margin per unit divided by the selling price, which is 100, so it's gonna be 40%. Required units to achieve target profit, so how many units do I need to sell to achieve this profit? So it's gonna be fixed cost plus target profit, so it's here. Okay, so you're gonna get 1 million divided by the contribution margin per unit, you're gonna get 25,000 units. Now, required units to break even. How many units do I need to sell to break even? Break even point, your profit will be zero. So you're gonna use the same formula as this, but instead of profit you're gonna put 0. So it's gonna be fixed cost divided by contribution margin per unit. So it's gonna be 80,000 divided by 40. So you're gonna get 2,000 units. So if I sell 2,000 units, I'm gonna break even. My profit will be 0. Now, same requirement but in dollars. Sales in dollars to break even. It's gonna be total fixed cost plus 0 instead of profit divided by contribution margin ratio. So this is your fixed cost divided by the contribution margin ratio, which is 40%. You're gonna get 200,000. Or we can use this formula, which is break-even point in units, this one, multiplied by the selling price per unit. So 2,000 units multiplied by $100, you're gonna get 200,000. Now pause the video and do the calculations for C. Now contribution margin per unit, selling price less variable cost is gonna be 80. Contribution margin ratio is gonna be 80 divided by the selling price, which is 160. You're gonna get 50%. Required units to achieve target profit. So how many units do I need to sell to achieve this profit? So I'm gonna add fixed cost to this profit. I'm gonna get 224,000. Then I'm gonna divide it by the contribution margin per unit. You're gonna get 2,800 units. Required units to break even. How many units do I need to break even? So my profit will be 0. So instead of writing target profit here, it's gonna be 0. So it's gonna be fixed cost divided by the contribution margin per unit. So 64,000 divided by 80, it's gonna be 800 units. Now for the break even sales in dollars, you're gonna take your fixed cost divided by contribution margin ratio, which is 50%. We're gonna get $128,000. Or you can take the break-even point in units and multiply it with the selling price, which is 160. You're gonna get the same answer. Hope that it's clear. You just need to use these formulas on the left side. Thank you for watching. If you have any question, please leave a comment. Please like, share, and subscribe.